Hello everyone, Michael here with Thirdstone Properties. I made some maps for us all to go over. I think this will really help you guys understand the areas of Jacksonville when you're looking for investment properties. This is not a discussion on demographics or anything like that. We're going purely based on numbers and our experiences and what to expect in these parts of town. So first off, I got map 1 here. These are the areas where things are going to be pricier, but you're going to get more rent. This whole east side of Jacksonville, and just so you kind of have a good point of reference here, like this is the St. Johns River. This kind of divides, east and west. This is our kind of our landmark that we use. So you got your east, all this like from up here over here is considered east. All this way is considered west side, and everything above this line here, I would say I-10. I-10's a good frame of reference here. This is considered north side. All this above I-10 and over here is all considered north side. Within 295, I would say. And then when you get up here, you get a little more to the outskirts of Jacksonville. So there's going to be a little more country of an area all throughout here and then all out here too. This is where you're going to find like more land and more houses that are on these giant lots. I don't do a lot of work out here, but do keep it open. I'm not always going to talk about these areas, but that doesn't mean there's not opportunity out there. And up here in Fernandina, Amelia Island, Yulee. So Yulee's a really quickly growing area. Lots of new construction, lots of people moving here, especially from out of state. Same with Fernandina. However, it is pretty pricey up here now, but rentals are in demand. So, definitely keep that in mind. If you see something below 250, these areas, it's probably good. That pretty much applies to any of this. Anything 250 and under is probably a good price. So we'll kind of jump over here first. This part of Arlington, you can find things as low as 120 or so. It's pretty rare. If it gets any lower than that, it's definitely going to be a rehab. And the higher north you kind of go here, the higher the prices get. But keep in mind, the higher the rents go. You'll find a lot of 3-1 block homes here. If you can locate 175 and under, and it's a decently sized 3-1, especially if it's a block home and not a flat roof. I don't like flat roofs. They don't tend to last very long, but sometimes it is what it is. You don't want to always pass up a great deal just because the roof's flat. Just keep in mind, they're not going to last as long. So for 3-1 over here, you can expect to get at the minimum $1,200 in rent. Obviously, we want to get better than that. We've had success getting, $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 in these areas, and that's even for a 3-1. If you see a 3-2, no question, you're going to get $1,400 plus. And that's assuming the place is in good livable condition, of course. Once you get in this area, the prices are going to start going up. It's going to start going up once you kind of get here and out here. Areas to look at here, especially along the beach. If you see like a condo at the beach under 150, honestly, it's probably a good buy. Like it really is. You can get such high rents out here. So don't rule out the condos. I know a lot of people are very anti the condo HOA, but keep an open mind with these things. And keep in mind too, like some of these with HOAs and condos, they're very easy to maintain, very easy to keep rented. Just easy properties. So houses out in this area, you're going to get up in the 300,000 range, like very quick, but you can get higher rents. So do keep that in mind. And you get really quick appreciation in all these areas too. So here's kind of like our line, from like the Sawgrass area through Mandarin. You can kind of draw like an imaginary line. This is Jacksonville. Above this is Jacksonville. These areas here, like this Southside area, anything along the river, it's really great. It's going to be really good appreciation, really good rental rates. Area I particularly like, and area I actually live in is right here, San Jose area, down the Mandarin. If you find like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath block home under 250 right here, you will be successful with it, I promise you. And when you get down to Julington Creek, Mandarin, you're going to start finding newer homes too. This is kind of like the older part up here. So you're going to find older homes. So there's still a lot of like 3-1s and whatnot everywhere. And San Marcos is really, really great area. I love San Marcos. Super cool spot. Definitely Google it. Lots of walkability there. Restaurants, bars, that kind of stuff. It's really expensive though. As investors, we're not trying to spend $1 million on a house or anything. So getting down here below Julington Creek and like Nocatee area. So this and everything below is considered St. Johns County. St. Johns County is just the most booming spot, I think, in all of Florida. It's so competitive. People are just fighting over houses in all this area. So keep this in mind. Look at new home builds. If you look at new home builds in this whole area, these things are appreciating so fast. We were considering buying some last year just as an investment. I think we got a little hesitant on it because they were priced a little high. We were looking at the 280 mark, 250 mark for a new townhouse. And then we looked this year and they've all gone up $100,000. man, if you could go back in time, right? This is a great area. For people looking for Airbnbs, honestly, anything from like Southside down and close to the beach, you're probably gonna be successful with it. When I used to do rentals, I had a lot of rentals down in St. Augustine, these, big 4 or 5 bedroom houses. It's unbelievable the amount of people we had looking for short-term rentals. People need a place for 3 months. People need a place for 2 months. A lot of them were building homes, or their new builds were getting delayed, whatever. I mean, there's just so many different cases where I just came across that over and over and over and over. So for folks looking for Airbnbs, if you find at least like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath anywhere in this area that's reasonable and you can furnish, it'd be great. I'm telling you, it'd be very much in demand. And the same applies for this Oak Leaf Plantation area and Orange Park. Orange Park's a pretty busy area. It's, it's got like a mall down here, and that's pretty much the only mall on the whole west side here. The east side has a couple of different spots like that, but over here, so Orange Park does get quite busy, but all these are pretty good areas for investment house or a townhouse. You'll find more new stuff here at Oak Leaf. It's a very new development out here. And these are areas that have, desirable school systems too. So like your Oak Leaf and all of St. John's, really. People are really moving there for the school systems. If you can spot you a modest house or a townhouse in these areas, you're doing well. And then we're going to hop into Avondale, Murray Hill, 5 Points here, and Ortega, Lakeshore. And keep in mind, guys, this isn't like a concrete line. It's not like, oh, once you cross this line, it's, a worser or nicer area. That's not the case. I'm just trying to keep it simple, basic general area. So these areas, Murray Hill, Avondale, 5 Points, especially like kind of like these 3 spots, be kind of like the more hip areas. A lot of old houses. I mean, it's a really, really old part of town, but also a very beautiful part of town. I really like it over here. It's probably my favorite spot in Jacksonville. Just a great spot to live and hang out. So areas I've lived in San Marco up here. I've lived in Murray Hill, and now I finally bought a house, and I'm down in this area now. So I am very familiar with these areas. I've actually lived in them, been a part of the communities. So Riverside, Avondale, Murray Hill, you can find some quads in here as well as San Marco. You can find like a lot of quads through these areas. Keep in mind, they're probably gonna be at least 500 grand when you find them, and some of them may need work, but they rent so easy. They're very desirable areas. You're gonna find a lot with window units and stuff like that, but it's okay. Most of them have that, so keep that in mind. Don't let it kill a deal, just because it has like a window AC unit. So when we're looking at these areas in general, these are our areas up to 300, as far as an investment goes, 300,000. And it depends on the house, the size of the house, the exact area and everything, if it's worth paying that much for a house. But you could pretty much count on, if you're at 200 plus, it's gonna work. I promise you it's going to work in any of these areas. And of course, that depends on the quality of the house too. Just because it's in an area that's going to generate high rental doesn't mean the house is good. It could be, a bad house too. So that's the most important thing of all this, honestly, is locating a good house that you're not going to put a lot of work into, or that's difficult to keep rented. All right, that's pretty much it for map 1. Map 2. So these are areas we probably do the most work in. I get most of my deals. Anything kind of around this Arlington expressway, it's going to be a little less desirable, than map 1. So like, see on our map 1, we're coming up here, and then we're kind of around this area right here. It's just a little more busy, it's like it's this major road, and the houses are old and kind of small. This is the only reason why they're a little lower. It's not necessarily like, worse neighborhoods or anything like that. However, they do tend to work really well as investment houses. What we're looking for in these areas, typically, you're going to see a ton of 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and we love the block homes. They just always hold up so much better here. I'm not saying don't avoid a wooden home. Don't rule it out. But if you see like a block 3-1, it's usually pretty good structure. So these areas, I mean, it's great to get like a turnkey house, 3-1, 1,100 square feet. You get around 120, 130, up to 150 even. You're in pretty good shape. You'll get at least 1,200 in rent, probably more the way the market's going. So that applies to all this area. This area here is kind of like, my little box here, Springfield. We don't really find a lot in here, but every now and then you can find a pretty good snag. You're going to find a lot of duplexes, triplexes, quads. There's really big old homes that a lot of people transformed into duplexes, triplexes kind of thing, and turn them into rentals. So you see a lot of these, and most of them have been renovated. There's still probably a decent amount of houses that need renovation, but they're really, really old houses, and they do take a lot of work to get up to par. The best buys here are going to be your duplexes, triplexes, and they're going to be big. They're going to be lots of square footage. You can get them around 300 or so. That's pretty good. Say you get a duplex, 300,000. Each side's probably going to have at least like 1,400 square feet, and it's likely to be like a 2-1 or a 3-1, but you can get 1,500 in rent per side, easy. Moving up, kind of like from, I would say, some Beaver Street up until the Trout River here. This whole kind of block, so anything below like this Trout River, kind of like this body of water here, down to this I-10 area. That's another area we've been able to locate a lot of deals. Let's kind of see what I said about Arlington. It's very similar, same thing, same types of houses, same types of deals. However, you can find some cheaper houses out here than you can Arlington. Arlington's a little more of a desirable area, just because it's closer to everything. It's just more of a convenient area. And then when you get above the Trout River, I really like this area up here. We've done a lot of stuff up here. We've done a lot of renovations up here. For a while there, it was pretty easy to find a house that needed renovation and that had like a really good structure to it, and you can get a great price, renovate it, get really good rent in ARVs. But as far as turnkey goes, you see a 3.1, 3.2, once again, kind of same price area. We're always looking at this price point between like 100 and 150,000, even up to 175, depending on how, like if it's a bigger house, so if you're getting like a 3.2 that's 1,500 square feet and it's 175, that's fine. You're going to get your cash flow. You're going to get your rent. The thing I always tell people is just don't overanalyze it. It's more simple than it seems. It's more about the quality of the house. What are you going to have to put into that house to get the rents that you need to make that house worth it? That's what I'm here for. We're going to tell you if that house is going to produce or not. And I can tell from these areas, I know an area like instantly, but we don't know the house until we're out there. Keep that in mind. Kind of same thing over here. Pretty similar area. Honestly, these are all very similar to each other. You're going to get the same types of houses, same types of prices. There's spots you can still get something at a reasonable price that's going to generate the rent that you need. The problem with map 1 that we find more than anything is you're not going to get the rent. Like say you buy a $300,000 house, you're not going to get $3,000 a month. What you're buying over here is one, you're buying typically an easier property to keep rented and to hopefully maintain, especially if you get something newer, much easier to maintain. You're probably not going to cash flow, honestly, that much, but you will get appreciation. You'll have an easy rental and lots of appreciation, right? Map 2, you're kind of getting a little bit of both. You're going to get decent appreciation, not like you would with map 1, but the rent's going to likely be where you need it to be right away. And I can send these to you guys, like I drew these out too, so I can always email these to you. And for map 3, so these are areas that don't tend to appreciate too much. Like Brentwood's one. You can find a lot of duplexes in Brentwood, which is a good thing. There's not a lot of duplexes in Jacksonville in general. This is where you're going to find most of those. This is more of an area that's not going to really appreciate too much. But what we've seen the last couple of years, it doesn't matter where something's at, it's appreciating just because the market's crazy. But in normal market situations, you're not going to get that in these areas. Also, the houses are really old in these areas too. They tend to need a lot of work. Brentwood, you actually got some little newer builds up here. So these areas are typically good for cash flow. However, they do tend to be a little tougher. They take a little longer to place tenants. They tend to be a little more maintenance heavy. They don't appreciate much, but you can get good cash flow. You get a duplex over here, 120, 130,000. Rent each side for 800, 900, and that's amazing cash flow. However, it does come with a few headaches, I should say. This kind of applies all this here. You're also going to find like a lot of really small homes through here. Like you find a lot of 2.1, 3.1 homes that are 800 square feet and below. One thing to note too, downtown Jacksonville has gone through a lot of changes, especially the last couple of years. There's some really old warehouses and stuff all along the riverbank here that are being bought up by developers, and we see some changes coming to this area. So if that happens, if things go the way the city's wanting them to go and things get done and they get done well, this could really make this area great. I mean, it can make this area really boom. Lots of development, lots of clearing, lots of new stuff. So it's a big possibility, this could change. As for right now, as it stands, it's pretty much what I've already discussed. As far as multifamily goes, if you find any multifamilies, map 1, map 2, I've been able to do quite a few quad deals in areas like this here. So this Jacksonville Heights down, through this area and this Orange Park area. We've been able to find quite a few quads down here for pretty good prices that get pretty decent rents. But honestly, multifamily is what it is. It's all about numbers. Obviously, location does matter. Any multifamily in these map 1, map 2, let's talk about it. If you get the right price, it can be a really, really good buy. Map 3, multifamily, I would likely avoid. It's just going to be tough. I find people struggle with them so much. All right, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm always here.